Coming at you from that room next to the purple room next to the alley.
We keep forgetting to workshop that.
We do. This is Wedding SWAT. SWAT standing for
It's gray, though.
Special Weddings. Awesome talent. I am the host of this show, Mr. Dave, and we are
2/10 of gray.
We are. Well, the room's a shade of gray.
It's gray and then like a bluish gray.
Yeah,
that's 50 Shades.
No.
That's where I thought he was going. The other room, or the other voices you hear, of course, are the balded, the muted, the bearded, Logan LogDog Gettings, and the man holding his microphone. I don't know why you're holding it.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can fold those legs, so it's more like a handle.
Well, because then I'll be down here like this.
Well, you'd be surprised.
And I don't want to get on my knees.
That voice is retired Master Sergeant DJ Airborne.
On our itinerary before next week, we need to, number one, figure out a new intro, and number two, we need to just set up this after dark because
or maybe too many windows.
I don't know. In your endo. I don't know. Maybe the room next to the purple room next to the alley is the way to go. I don't know.
But like that only makes sense if someone has been watching for a long time.
Watching? Or for those of you watching at home.
Yeah, they're watching.
They're watching now.
So watch me put the microphone right into my teeth there. I don't know. I mean, this room's it's got a pole. Mr. Producer, you want to get a shot of our pole?
The room with the pole?
The room with the pole. So this is a very special pole. It's because it holds up the building.
That's the pole.
That is the pole. I have no idea why it's there is 2 stories to this building, but
no,
we don't talk about what goes on upstairs.
All I know is next door we have a tattoo parlor and a hair salon.
Yeah, you can get tattoos, DJs, photography, video, Dave coordination, photo booth,
and your hair washed.
And then your hair washed all at the same time.
Yeah,
while you're getting a tattoo,
and then you can go across the street and see the art when eventually Mona opens back up.
Yeah, but it's open. Trust me, there wasn't any place to park earlier this morning.
Did you not see any spots to park out there?
Oh, I parked pretty close.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all staff. That's not
staff. That's not staff.
Because they have access cards to get in that side door.
Yeah, they have access cards to get on that side, but they have to park on the other side where the parking lot is.
I'm curious to go in and see what's new, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like
art is new.
I mean, art is either always very old or new.
That is, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So today, fellas, we're going to go ahead and give some people on the deets. That's right. I'm using
fellas.
I'm using slang. The deets on what percentage of the wedding guests RSVP, yes, and why? Why do some people go to some weddings, and why do some people go to other weddings, and why some people don't show up at weddings at all? Actually, that's not part of it. I just made that part up.
I mean, we could talk about why people don't go to weddings if we have time.
Yeah, some people are just selfish, and it's not about them, so they don't want to go. I mean,
we've also talked about how, sometimes people have kids and it's a kid-free wedding and they can't get childcare. They don't want to.
Yeah, well, it's expensive. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Not if you have an older kid.
No. What we did when our kids were younger is we just tied their wrists together, threw a knife in the middle of the floor, threw a bowl of food and water out, and then whichever one was alive when we came home, that's the one we raised. So,
and you ended up with 2.
We had 6.
So you did it.
So Johnny, Sally, Jennifer, and Ethan did not make it.
Was it like all 6 at once, or did you pair them off?
Oh, no, she had 6 tuplets. Is that right? That would be 6.
No, I mean, like, did you tie all 6 and throw the knife down in between all 6 at once? Or were they like, did you do it 2 at a time?
Well, no, we tied 2 of them together each. So there were groups of 2, so there's 3.
See.
And then, they had to grab the knife and the person's already dead. So they're trying to stab the other one with the dead weight on their other arm.
Yeah, I saw that episode of Saw.
So, So we're going to give you the deets on some RSVP. Wedding season is just around the corner. If you have an early spring wedding, I hope you've gotten your your wedding invitations out already, because I don't know if you guys know this. This is the last weekend of March. Which means
already
a couple of things.
Prom season.
The proms are in full swing. The wedding season is starting to ramp up, and David's schedule changes and now has to work Saturdays. I don't think I.
Do you not have that
man?
button?
I want
Saturdays
off.
So I don't think I have a. Oh, I do.
You don't know what buttons you have?
No, there's so many buttons on this thing.
Yeah, but he just likes you pushing them.
I do. So we're going to talk. We're going to reveal the percentage of wedding stats here on RSVPs. Yes, not RSVP. No, because obviously if they didn't say yes, they probably said no. Although I have seen some RSVPs that have maybe on them, and I'm like,
yeah, that's what I'm curious of. Maybe
what the heck does that mean?
I mean,
I know what it means, but
I might be there.
Yeah, I don't know if you're important enough to come.
Well, my thing would be, okay, if you have like a pre-existing obligation or something, like, okay, maybe there's, instead of a maybe, it would be a we'll respond at a later date.
Okay.
And so maybe, like, if you put a maybe up, maybe you're going to send out a second round of RSVPs closer to the date.
Well, and here's the thing. Just because someone says no to attending your wedding doesn't necessarily mean they could give a crap about you. All right. That
just means they're going to a better one.
That's not what that means.
They're going to a better one.
Go to the one across the street is much better. And better food, better drinks,
their booze are free.
Yeah.
Listen, I was going to go to your wedding, but there's other weddings at the Unis Center, and they have briskets. So sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the brisket. Now I'm hungry, Logan. Now I'm hungry.
Hey, it's not my fault we filmed this before lunch.
So
it's not my fault. You set the schedules. You two are in charge.
The wedding planning era is. Oh no, I don't want your protein bar, Mr. Producer.
I just seen something fly.
Do I look like I eat protein bars? Seriously. Goodness sakes. But the wedding planning, it's
a Nature Valley one. It's like you can't even eat this without making a mess. Here you go.
What's in this thing?
It's a Twinkie.
It is dark chocolate and peanut and almond. You lost me at dark chocolate. I don't like dark chocolate. I like
that's good for your.
I was unaware I worked for a racist.
For your heart.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, getting back on subject here. So the planning era is magical, but
I'm getting food fighted in the middle of the podcast.
Here it is. It's a period for you and your partner to decide things on who you're going to invite, who you're not going to invite. The best way to do that. Best way to do that is to make
it's flying back.
Each make a list and then kind of go through that list together and see who you really do want to invite. Because let's just say at my wedding, there was a couple people who didn't get invited because my wife's like, no, they're not coming. They're going to ruin things.
Well, and I've talked about my rule before on like the sequence of people that you invite of like, okay,
Logan, I would hug you.
Well, yes, exactly. See, the people you would hug, the people who you would shake hands and have a conversation with, and the people you'd kind of wave at as you walk by.
So people are waiting to find out on these invitations where they send out who's it going to be? Who's going to be the person that comes? Who's people that not? And those regretful declines are in the mix. And that said, here's how many attendees you can actually expect. And there actually is a scientific. I don't know who did this, if it was Harvard or what was going on, but they actually figured this out where they're like, okay, on average, who is going to be coming out to the wedding and who's not. Now, depending on your wedding, it's location, maybe some other influencing factors, weather,
location.
Percentage of guests that they want to attend varies widely according to this study. Drilling it down, that 83% are likely to confirm their attendance, while others say it could dip into the 60s. So there really is no hard evidence on this, but a good rule of thumb is that the most of them in Nebraska anyway, according to the study that I found, attendance falls right around 80%. Which I'd believe. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's small town Nebraska.
Nebraska people will take any opportunity to go out and drink and talk to people.
Right. Absolutely.
There's nothing else to do around here.
Well, there is. It's just that people like to do talking and drinking in Nebraska. I mean, David said it this. Go ahead, David. Give us your rundown of Nebraska.
It's 3 things to do out here. Number 1 coincides with number 2 and number 3. Number 1 is drinking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is either farming or cattle. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is either Husker football or Husker volleyball.
Beef. It's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
And there's corn on the plate, too.
There's corn. There's always corn on the plate. Sheesh.
We are the Cornhusker state.
We are the Cornhusker, even though we're second to Iowa in corn.
Ours is better.
Oh, ours is better. But, I mean, production-wise, we're second. There's more corn coming out of Iowa than there's Nebraska because we have more cows. Got to have room for those cows. Cows will eat the corn. You can't put the cows and the corn together, Logan.
Hey, it's not my fault that we made a bad investment, okay?
And that's why there's so much methane in the state.
That's right. That's
You can't light a match in Nebraska.
Nebraska is the reason why global warming is happening right there. So anyway, right around 80% is that sweet spot on the yes for the RSVP stage. And, expect a handful to back out at the last minute. That always happens. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets a job promotion, or somebody goes, Logan is the DJ? Yeah, we're not going. We're not going.
I came here to have fun, and I feel so attacked right now.
So even if you do anticipate a few answers of not being yes, your budget and venue.
But you're getting paid to do this. No, you're not.
I'm going to double his wage. It
is on the record.
No, for the podcast.
Oh.
So the budget and the venue should be able to accommodate your full list of attendees. So if you're inviting 200 people and only 150 show up, they know that they still probably need to cook for close to 200 food, 200 in food. That's just the way they do things.
I feel like for the most part, the number of like last minute, I have something came up, I can't show up, is usually balanced out by people bringing like plus ones or like the smaller groups that you didn't really account for that do crash.
Or they're just getting seconds.
Or they're getting seconds.
Right. So
everybody knows one guy that will like devour half the buffet if you let him.
So if 80% is the number that say they obviously say yes to, that means that there's probably how many that say no, David? Take your shoes off, do the math.
Would you speak up? I'm not wearing pants.
We're on TV now. So
it's two.
Carry the four there, David. 20% will not be attending. So if you have a group
he had active military service,
8 to 10 people invited. Typically, a couple of them are going to pass on that. So if you have 10, there's going to be 2 that are going to say, "No, we can't go." So now that's based on specific details of a wedding, time of year, travel, distance, things like that. But
you have 10 friends?
No. Starting at about 20%, and adjust your estimate up or down from there. So now, how many these guests decline on the wedding invitation depends on numerous factors. Okay, but your wedding planner,
2.
Or your wedding plan is a resource where that's only if they invite 10 people, David. So
he'll catch up eventually.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
That hardcore military education.
So pew.
We got blown up.
You got blown up. You haven't blown up. That's the problem.
The gun has 2 ends. This one goes towards the enemy.
How many times have you been exploded?
3.
What do you consider like being exploded?
When your head shakes really bad and there's blood coming from body parts.
So you've been wounded by explosions 3 times.
There you go.
So you've been married. Gotcha. Was that did I say that over? Yeah, edit that.
Yeah,
do not worry.
He's the one that's married.
His wife does not watch the podcast.
She doesn't watch or listen to the podcast. Makes me feel real
but
good.
now his kids might.
I think my daughter does. My son, he's still too cool to.
Yeah, but he watches YouTube on accident. He's going to scroll by it.
He does watch YouTube.
So he's going to see his dad on YouTube.
There it is. There it is. So we got a fist pump in the back there for Mr. Producer. So there it is. So we're going to track some things here, or things that they track, and give you the information. So factors that influence.
20.
How many? You got it. How many guests RSVP? Yes. Wedding location. So you got to think about this: flights, hotels, just basically out of town expenses, food,
childcare,
things like that. Childcare. So my wife and I are a great example of this. We decided that most of our friends at that time were going to college with us, and we looked back on who we'd actually invite from high school. And the number between the two of us were 6. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, so do we move? Because my friends are going to have to travel regardless because, tradition says the bride goes home and gets married, right? Mm-hmm. So they were saying that Morganton, Georgia? I don't know where that's at. No, it's not coming through the office line.
You kids and your cell phones.
I know. So we figured
You're usually on yours.
My 4 guys that I invited from high school. No, 2 guys. She had 4. I had 2. They were also groomsmen, so they're gonna travel. Okay, and then we realized that a lot of other people that are friends that we wanted to come to the wedding, they're in the Shatter, Nebraska area. So we decided to have it in Shatter instead of Sioux Falls, where she's from. And that ended up being a really, really good plan because, again, your close friends and family, they're going to travel. They're going to come regardless of where it's at. But when you're in college and you have friends that aren't in the wedding party, they may not travel 6 hours.
Yeah, because now they have to get a hotel.
Well, they're going to have to get a hotel anyway. It doesn't matter if they're in the wedding party or not. But so now me and my wife, part of our gift was paying for half of each buddy's hotel room. That was our gift. And so at the time, I think it cost them like $50 per night. And they were there 2 nights, so it cost them $100 for the hotel room.
That must be nice to reminisce on.
It is. So what would your wife do, Logan?
I would hope eventually she'd, breathe in my presence.
Breathe in my presence. I love it. I love how you said that. You know what? This is the thing. Do you think that you have? And I had this discussion with a.
We're getting deep.
We're getting deep with a friend a while ago. Do you think you've met your soulmate yet?
Probably not, because I would think that if I had, I'd sleep better.
Okay, David.
What if she left?
Well, see, that's the thing. Is we were talking about that. Does that mean just because they're soulmates? Does that mean you marry that person?
I don't necessarily.
Oh yeah, he's getting deep.
This depends a lot on your philosophy on what the heck a soulmate is.
True.
Because to me, it's just another term for people who basically their partner for life.
Okay.
Which some people just call their spouse. Some people just call their partner. It's like I tend to stay away from all sorts of spiritualism if I can, just because it gets really messy.
It's just, I don't know if that soulmate's a spiritual person.
The word soul's in it.
Well, that's true. I don't know. You can't always put everything in a name.
Hey, I'd just make kids like a champ.
Spoken like someone in the Army. Awesome. So back to wedding location here. So it's smart to think about some of the more.
There's so many bad words I want to say on the microphone.
Yes, but we're moving on. So many. See, now I lost my train of thought. Something wedding location. That's what we were talking about. So, but they may decline on because they're just at that age where they can't afford to have that weekend away. From school or whatever. At least that's how it was in the early 2000s. It was expensive, but now people start families earlier and things like that. And Logan's right. I mean, if you don't have a parent that can watch your kid or kids over the weekend, so you can go to a wedding, or a brother or a sister, that's expensive. And I don't know of many daycare providers that would watch your kid for a full weekend. I mean, that's
no way.
Daycares themselves are expensive. That's one of the big things I've always seen is it's almost more expensive to have both parents working than it is to have one parent stay at home because of how expensive childcare can be.
Yeah, me and my wife got very, very lucky with childcare that we had. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it gets to a point where you have so many kids that the mom or dad might as well just stay home because that paycheck's going to go completely to childcare. Mm-hmm. So you might as well stay home.
Well, and the other thing is you don't want to accidentally parentify one of your children, or
I do.
No.
Oh no. Okay.
No.
Okay. We talked about that. That was a no.
You both of your kids are grown up enough at this point. You don't have to worry about it, but don't have another one and then make one of them take care of it.
Why? I mean, that sounds like a perfect plan to me. No. Okay.
It's a built-in babysitter.
So yeah, right. We're gonna have a baby. Then you have a babysitter. I mean, he's 17.
And change diapers for you.
Yeah, he would love that. No, he wouldn't. No.
I've met your son. No.
Matthew, if you listen or watch, I know that the truth is that you would not want to do.
Like I think
now, Bethany,
your daughter would do it.
Yes,
because she would love her
brother or sister. Yes.
Well, I always say this. Where's the fairness to this? You had to change their diapers when they were little. When I get older, they're going to have to change mine.
That's true. That is true.
Fair.
Are you going to let them put diapers on you?
I wouldn't care at that point.
At that point, who cares? If you're crapping your pants and you can't hold it in, The last thing that I'm going to be worrying about is whether or not they put the diaper on me or I put the diaper on me.
No, I'm saying you're going to put diapers on?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you need them. Are you saying that if you needed diapers, you wouldn't wear them?
If I end up needing diapers, I'm checking out.
Fair enough.
I don't need any more shame. I got plenty.
Is it shame at that age, though?
Isn't that cute? He pooped.
Yeah, I feel like there's a point of aging gracefully, and now diaper.
So, well, I'll have to look it up, but there's a book called Tuesdays with Maury, and he talks about this, about having, because he's got Lou Gehrig's disease. Mm-hmm. And so it comes to a point where you just can't use your body anymore. And so, yeah, he has to have diapers. And, and he says one of the greatest things is that you're born into this world a child, mm-hmm. and you leave one as well. And what he's meaning by that is that you come to a point in your life where you can't take care of yourself. Mm. So it comes back around.
If you want a funny story, yeah. I had a guy come into work, a couple of regulars. I'm not going to give names because I'm going to protect this guy.
To protect the innocent.
It was going to be a bigger, like a group of like 12 people. And they come in and I'm like, oh, it's you guys. Why are you guys? Because normally it's like two to, I think the most I've ever seen with their group is like 5, 6, 7. It's just like, why are there going to be 12 of you? And it was just him, like the husband at first. And he basically goes, my wife's mom, she comes in with us sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, she usually takes a good long while to figure out what she wants. She's kind of slower. And he's like, yeah, and she finally died. And I went, finally? And he's like, it was a blessing. She was not doing okay. I'm like, I'm betting you're only using this specific language because the rest of them aren't here yet.
Okay, well, you know what, though? That's a whole other topic, but I don't do well with death and funerals. I just don't.
Does anyone?
I don't know.
Hooray.
No. Here's the thing. My in-laws.
Producer says he loves them.
My in-laws.
It's the celebration of life.
Oh, Aunt Harriet died. What's for dinner? I'm serious. And they love people. I'm not saying they're not like dead on the inside, but the way they deal with death is just like, okay, but that was your brother or sister. They just died. Yeah, it happens. I was like,
I cried when Robin Williams and Steve Irwin died.
So Steve Irwin didn't really affect me too much. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. Robin, I'm like, oh my God, Robin Williams. Ugh. So
no, I grew up watching Crocodile Hunter, and
that was after Generation X here.
I firmly believe that's part of the reason that I love animals now.
Is because of Steve Irwin loved animals?
Yeah, part of it. That has to be.
Okay.
Crikey, look at those teeth.
That's an alligator. One of the most dangerous animals in the world.
I'm going to pull us back onto the track here.
Sorry.
Because we're getting off. And this podcast, I know that's weird.
Yes. Oh, no. Tangent.
So, we kind of touched this on a little bit is, this is the reason why people would say no. Cost of attendance is one. Next one would be children. No children at the wedding or lack of child care. So if you are having an adult wedding only, where you're only inviting adults, some folks might choose not to attend because they have no place to put their children. You
can find that one answer.
Here's what I say to that. And I think this is the best of both worlds. I understand where there's people who don't want children at their wedding.
Sure.
And I understand why there's people who want children at their wedding. There's some people like, oh my gosh, yes, children are amazing. Yeah, well, most of them are spawn at certain ages. So
I had an aunt who went, I wouldn't go to a wedding if children weren't allowed to be there.
Well, it depends on the age, and upbringing anymore. It doesn't seem like parents are watching their kids.
Yeah, they say terrible twos. It's terrible.
It's terrible twos and a three-nager. My kids went through three-nager, never terrible two. They were okay at 2. 3, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to give you away. It's going to happen. But here's the best of both worlds. And some halls, now there was a hall in Hastings, unfortunately it closed down because she moved back to the coast. It was brick 1887.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a great hall. And I don't know what happened to it. I probably should find out because it was a turnkey reception hall. But she wanted a couple million.
If only you had a machine where you could type in a question and it would come out.
Right. So
It's Google.
So anyway, Logan, look through the lines there. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the bald, the bearded, the beauted.
There was the 90 finger.
She had a room upstairs where you could fill it with probably about 25 kids from friends. And 25 kids, and you had one or two people, and they had a licensed daycare provider that you could rent. And she would come, and all the kids would be upstairs in that room. There was TVs, there was food, there was drinks, and there was no reason for those kids to come downstairs and see mom and dad get plastered. Mm-hmm. No reason.
I've also heard of people having specific people that they would invite to their wedding and be like, would you be willing to be one of the people that helps watch
you invite them to the wedding, they say, good, you're here, I need you to go upstairs.
Well, no, I've heard of this where it's like they would invite, or like they would invite family members of the people that they were inviting.
Absolutely.
So it's like, hey, I'm inviting my some close friends. Would your parents be willing to come along, and I'll feed them and stuff like that if they'd be willing to watch the kids?
I can see that. Now, when I got married, none of us had kids. Mm-hmm. None of us. So the kids that were there were either cousins' kids or no, even our brothers and sisters didn't have kids at that point. So there weren't a lot of kids at our wedding. There wasn't. I can think of one off the top of my head that I can remember, and it wasn't because she was bad. It's just that it was one of Gwen's really good friends, and they had a kid at that time, but they were already married. They got married right out of high school. So yeah, no children at a wedding or lack of childcare would be a scheduling conflict. If you are set to have a wedding in the late spring or late fall during prime wedding season,
or Husker game season, you will likely be competing with, in this state, Husker games, which, yes, I have heard people saying, well, we were going to go to the wedding, but it was during the Iowa game, or we would go to the wedding, but it was during the Minnesota game, or the one last year, we were going to go to the wedding, but it was during the Colorado game, which we spanked. And it was,
I mean, if you do have your wedding on a Husker game day, you are going to have people who are going to set up their phones on their tables, and they're going to
tablets.
Yeah, and you're gonna end up with like six people sitting on one side of a table, all looking at the same phone.
Here's what I do. At the pre-call, I tell brides, I said, you do understand that there is a Husker game going on TV because they're all televised anymore. And I said, it doesn't matter how good of a DJ I am or I am not, I cannot compete with a Husker game on TV. And she goes, yeah, I know. So I can do one of two things to help combat this. Number one, you can talk to the hall and see if they want to put it on the screens during dinner. Or number two, I can pipe the audio through my speakers so they can listen to it during dinner. And I do one of those two things if they say yes. If they say no, then I just say, okay, not a problem. We'll put some background music on. And I get it. They want the day to be about them. But there are also some brides and grooms that also want to say, we want our guests to be comfortable. We want them to, kind of do what they want at the wedding. And so sometimes they're okay with that.
The wildest thing I've ever seen was like toasts were happening. The microphone was in the hands of the maid of honor. And I look over and the groomsman at the end of the table was watching the game on his phone.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, bro, give me 10 minutes.
There was one bride.
Maybe 5.
This was a long, long time ago where the reception started at noon. Okay. And so when I did the pre-call and I said, just out of curiosity, why are we starting things off at noon? And she goes, because we have to be done by 4. And I'm like, okay. I go, why 4 o'clock? And she just sighed over the phone. And she goes, because the Husker game starts at 4. And I said, yeah, so? And she goes, my husband refused to get married on this day unless if we can watch the Husker game. And it was at Riverside in Grand Island, the country club. And they had explicit instructions from the groom and the groom's family that exactly 4 o'clock the screens would drop and the game would come on and I was to stop. Period. It doesn't matter where we were at. Didn't matter if we didn't do the dollar dance or the bouquet toss. It stopped. And then she goes, so I would appreciate it if you didn't mention anything about the game during the wedding? And I said, yeah, sure, not a problem. And then I'm set up, ready to go. And right as the entrance is about to start, the father of the groom comes up to me and he goes, hey, I need you to play the Husker fight song as I come in. And I'm like, nothing wrong with that. It's not about the game. Right? So, and it's the father
It's the tunnel walk, though.
Yeah, but it's the father of the bride or father of the groom. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell him no. Okay. So I played it. They come in, the bride and groom come, the bride's got this pissed off look on her face as she's coming in. He sits down at the table. She gets to the table, turns around and beelines it to the hallway. Put on some background music. I'm like, maybe she should go to the bathroom. I don't know. But she was kind of pissed. So I'm sitting there. Dinner's ready. The chef comes over, and I love that the chef at Riverside, because he calls her chief. He goes, hey, chief, food's getting cold. You wanna start dinner? And I'm like, let me see if they're ready. And so I went out to the hallway where now the bride and groom were in a fight, screaming at each other. And she sees me come over the hallway and she goes, you, come here. And I'm like, oh no.
I'm in trouble.
And I walk over and I said, yeah, what can I do for you? And she goes, you were under explicit instructions not to say anything about the game. I said, that had nothing to do with the game. She goes, that's the Husker fight song. I go, his dad told me I had to play it. And she just turns from me and just gives that dart look to her husband. And she goes, I'm sorry I yelled at you. You were just doing what you were told by someone very important at the wedding. Mm-hmm. She goes, you may go. As in, she didn't want me around for what was going to happen next. Mm-hmm. I go back into the reception.
Uh-oh.
Dinner is ready. She told me to start releasing tables. So I said, okay, wedding party, go ahead and go and eat. And then everybody else followed. A half an hour later, the bride comes back in the room. The groom is still nowhere to be found. She grabs a plate, fills it up, sits down at the head table, starts eating her food, and probably, 15 minutes later, the groom comes in, and it looks like he got the shit kicked out of him emotionally. Just came in with this droopy, and
his face was all red.
Yeah. I mean, she must have laid into him and did something, because even the first spotlight dance, it was like two seventh graders dancing with each other. No emotion whatsoever.
6 inches.
And then
they left room for Jesus.
I just went out and did my job. I got a 10 out of 10 on it. And sure enough, at 4:00, those screens dropped, and that groom came over and says, dude, you're done. Go home. Okay. So that is that is to the extreme that people go to football and volleyball in this. And at this time it was just football. But
I have to ask, are they still together?
I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't remember the date, so I couldn't even go back and Facebook them.
I was going to say, I need you to look these people up. Oh my God.
I don't know.
I don't think you can. CMS only goes back to
2018. So I don't know if it was, I can't remember if it was, I don't know. I will have to look. I will go back and CMS and see. Because I can look by where I was at what venue, and maybe pull it up that way.
I don't think I've ever had any big spats between my couple on the day. I think I've been fairly lucky about that.
Well, and that spat was caused by the father of the groom, and I kind of helped, unfortunately. But I mean, that's a scheduling conflict.
I was going to ask, did you not have an entrance song that they picked?
Oh, I did. They didn't pick one out. She just said, you know what, you're the DJ, pick what you think works, which I usually do. Heavy D and the Boys, Now That We Found Love, because it's a great pump up song. Now that we found love, sure. What are we gonna do? So that's what I usually do if they just say if they're gonna do the DJ's choice thing. So yeah, scheduling conflicts, and in this state, Husker football can be a scheduling conflict. So, fellas, June, July, and early August, and the bye week. And the bye weeks, I will tell you this right now, they fill up about 18 months in advance. Mm-hmm. We can tell when a bye week is without looking at the schedule.
October 4th, maybe?
Maybe right around there. There's another one. There was another one in November last year, which is why that one weekend in November was so busy. So now let's talk about partial RSVPs. And this is what I was leading to a little bit earlier in the podcast, where
the maybes.
So you can put a maybe on
I have 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Yeah. I mean, so,
Did you shake it all about?
So, and here's what the study said that I read is, the reason why some people do partial RSVPs is because, let's say your friend broke up with his longtime boyfriend or girlfriend, is now flying solo. So yes, for me, partner, maybe, or your sister didn't get to use her +1 for something, or your friend with kids decided to make it a parents only weekend and decline 2 spots and they set aside for your little ones. Mm-hmm. So I understand where that may be a maybe, but if you are one of those people who are like, yeah, I don't know if I like them enough to go, then just decline. If you have to think, do I like them enough to witness a life-changing thing happen to them? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, don't go. I don't want you at my wedding. If you are unsure, and this is a sad story. It's not sad. It kind of pisses me off now, but at the time it hurt. There was a guy that was in my group of circles where and we always, his name is Mike, and we always hung out together with the group core of people. Every one of those people, plus my 2 best friends from high school, were going to be my groomsmen. Okay, so I had 8 groomsmen, 8.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, because I didn't want to count any of them out. They were all important to me. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden, when I said it's time to get fitted for the tuxes, you need to go down, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm graduating. Probably should go home. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And he said it just like that. And I just looked at him and I go, you're messing with me, right? And he's like, no, man, I just don't know. And I'm like, no problem, man. Don't worry about it. He goes, well, no, I want to be there. I go, no, you don't want to be there. And that's okay. If you don't want to be there, I don't want you at my wedding. Mm-hmm. And I said it. I flat out said it to him because we were good enough friends. And he's like, all right, man. He goes, I don't want to go to your wedding. And I said, so you're letting me know 3 months prior to that you don't want to go to the wedding when you're a groomsman? Yeah. I haven't talked to him since. So I don't. Ooglay's in the back going, yeah, man, screw him. So yeah, but now my wife has 8 bridesmaids because I hate groomsmen. So I had to find, and I found one. I mean, it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
So I took one of my ushers and made him a groomsman.
Boy band days.
I wrote a song about it.
Can we hear it?
So no, I didn't write a song about it, and no, you can't now hear any of my songs.
We need to put those on the YouTube website too. We need to find his music.
We can't. I will get in trouble for that. So I don't own the rights to those songs.
Who does?
It's a long story.
They don't own the masters.
Yeah, I do not own the masters.
Time for After Dark.
So distant relationships. Last year, guests were 10% most likely to consider how close they felt to the couple before agreeing to attend their nuptials. 10%. Again, if you have to think about whether you want to go to the wedding or not, don't go. Just don't go.
But what if the food's good?
It doesn't. I don't know. Franco, you've been married 5 or 6 times, right? At least. Yeah.
Every time I mention food, are you going to throw a granola bar at me? I see it back there.
That's his thing. The police are looking for him. The granola bar bandit. He knocks you out with a granola bar.
I'm just going to get beamed in the temple with flying chocolate.
So again, if you have to think about
nuts,
if you have to think about whether or not you want to attend,
the nuts are going to hit me in the chin.
It was like, no, it was one of those things that like when it went like this, it went, no. Okay, into the ears. Well played there, Mr. Combs.
Emotional, damn it.
The nuts are going to hit me in the chin. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I just know they were salty.
So.
It said salted nuts.
Not those types.
What you do in your spare time is up to you.
Well, he was in the Army, so I'm going to say.
We weren't seamen.
We'll take a short break and be right back after these messages. Oh, look, there's mail. Let's go ahead and do mail. There's no mail. There's no mail. People email us, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm not going to.
Have you guys heard the theory that Top Gun is actually like a romance story? Not the lady that Maverick pursues is not the romance. It's actually between
Maverick and his plane.
Well, no, it'd be
Goose.
It was Maverick, and I think it was the other guy was like Iceman or something.
What do you mean? Have you not seen Top Gun?
It's been a hot minute.
Oh no, we got to play some Danger Zone.
I don't know what to say to that, man.
It's been a hot minute.
Have you seen Maverick?
I have not seen Maverick. I have not watched it yet.
Did you like the first one?
I liked the first one. It was very much a product
I had
of
to
its
sit
time.
through Lord of the Rings.
Oh, what a torture!
You need to watch
The movie series that won all of the Oscars.
Here's what we're gonna do, fellas. Our first movie night is going to be Top Gun Maverick. Show them together at the same time. That's what it's going to be, because we can do that here. So
Are we going to follow up and make him watch Star Wars next?
He's seen all the Star
I
Wars.
was born to Star Wars.
Yeah. We've seen Star Wars, man.
How have you like? Oh yeah, I've seen Star Wars, but Lord of the Rings,
It was. I didn't get into the fairy tales.
Did you just lick your wrapper? Oh, okay. I thought our producer was in the back going.
Sometimes you got to tongue the wrapper. That's all I'm saying.
For those of you watching at home, our producer is Mr. Ugle Franco himself, and he likes to lick wrappers and wear two different socks. What's with the socks, man?
Laundry Day.
They look like the same brand, just different colors.
They don't look bad. I mean, you're a snappy dresser. I'll give you that.
No, you don't have to say that.
No, I know I don't have to say that.
It was Laundry Day.
I'm fully aware that I don't have to say that.
He doesn't have to say anything. He pays you.
Closing out here, fellas, because we're getting off course here again. I know. Accessibility issues. Now, this is huge.
Oh,
Because if you were in an old building and the Lederkrantz, was it Lederkrantz? Yes, the Lederhosen in Grand Island. Used to be this way, the Lederhosen. But it's Lederkrantz. I always call it the Lederhosen. It's an old German societal club. Lots of rich history. Gorgeous building.
oh yes.
We do events there, and they're fun. But the problem is it was built in the late 1800s where there was not an elevator in the rebuilding.
Well, not an elevator, and also
and no
And so
wheelchair
there was-
ramp.
yeah.
There were steps to get into the door, and then once you get in, there was more steps up to the what would be considered the ballroom back in the day.
Yeah.
So if you were handicapped physically in the legs, it was very, very difficult for you to get in there. Now, they did in the late 90s, early 2000s put in a wheelchair ramp off to the side, and it broke. And I guess those things are really expensive to get fixed. Not only that, they're not very fast, which obviously you don't want them to be real fast. Aberdeen, South Dakota. So we're popular. Okay.
Yeah, last time I did Lederkranz, I had a ceremony before, which was like a good 20 minutes away, and the reception.
Where was that at?
It was just like out in the field somewhere, basically, and I just remember like, oh God, I'm going to have to get there and set up really fast because I think everybody's coming immediately to the reception hall after the ceremony. And I don't remember why. Something about I couldn't get in beforehand to set up the reception equipment. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
But so I get there, and of course, Lederkranz, it's next to a one-way street because Grand Island, for some reason, thinks these are good ideas. And it's on a corner, but it has no parking lot on its corner. You have to go across the street.
You go across the street.
Well, there is a nice little alcove that you can kind of pull into to unload. All the other vendors were taking those. I couldn't get it in there. So, So I just went and I parked in the parking lot and I loaded up my cart and I tried to roll it across the street and it fell. All of my stuff fell out in the crosswalk.
Oh no!
So
I would have parked up right next to it in the street, put my hazards on, and loaded right there. There's a turning lane. If you back up far enough there, you can get anything or get on the sidewalk. When I do that, I pull up on the sidewalk like I own the joint.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. I'm not walking all that equipment back and forth. Just not doing it.
Yeah, it was a rough.
So, but accessibility anyway. There was many times where I've helped lift a wheelchair up those stairs.
Oh yes,
DJing, because we stand at the door, greeting people, being that smiling face, waiting for the bride and groom to show up. We want to be one of the very first people, if not the first person they see when they get there.
Yeah.
And so when grandma and grandpa's come in with a wheelchair, or aunts and uncles, or whoever, it takes, because you're thinking that people are usually 150 pounds ish, maybe a little higher. And then you got a 20, 30 pound wheelchair on top of that.
And it extends past just like stairs, because that ceremony was out in a field.
Sure.
So, you know how hard it is to roll a wheelchair through
In the field, in the sand?
Yeah, like either sand or through just like grass and dirt.
Yeah.
I had a wedding that was literally like, it took me 3 tries to finally get to the ceremony, because it was like, it was out east or west of this town of 10 people. And then you go up this way, and then it's like, the farmer's house is over here. But if instead of turning left, you turn right and you go out into the path that his truck takes to get to his field.
Do you know that they make wheelchairs now that have tracks on them?
Oh, I'm sure.
For that very reason.
Yeah, but it's like I could feel the bottom of my car scraping because I was following the wheel tracks of this guy's truck. So I ended up getting up on the side of it so I could.
The Monte Carlo days?
Oh no, this was recent.
Oh,
this was the Equinox.
Okay.
And like literally, I got out there. I'm like, we're actually just like in the middle of a field.
That's actually pretty normal in the state of Nebraska.
But
so
it was just it took you like 10 minutes of driving through this field to get there.
I'd believe it.
I'm just like, why this?
But
place?
anyway, they did redo their annex, which if you redo something a certain percentage of the building, you got to make ADA compliant. And so they did build a huge ramp outside in their courtyard for that very reason. So now I'm gonna imagine it's a little easier for the wheelchair to get in there. I just got to kind of going through the side-ish, back-ish, door-ish.
Yes.
So yeah, if there's
Whoops.
what was that?
My phone.
Oh, so there are some environmental triggers, venue accessibility, and some other factors should be taken into play when you're thinking about.
Also, if you have epilepsy, be careful about going to places with dance floors.
If you have someone with epilepsy, please tell the DJ, because I have been at parties where the bride and groom says, "Hey, my cousin is light sensitive. Could you just leave the lights on static?" And I would do that, or I would change them colors every now and then, but it would be a slow fade to a fast, or to a slow fade to a slow ambience.
And sometimes I've had a person come up and be like, "Hey, this person, my cousin or whoever is got epilepsy. Is it possible that we could do something about the lights?" And my first response is, I'll go ask the bride and groom, but this is their dance floor.
Yeah, I can't make that call. It's their dance floor. But
Don't look
I
into
would
them.
love to accommodate you, but unfortunately I'm not the one in charge.
Yeah. And the last time this happened, it was actually at the fairgrounds here in Kearney. And when I asked the bride and groom, they're like, well, I mean, if it's one person, we don't really want to, bring the dance floor down for that one person. And they're like, it'll be fine if you can't do anything. She'll just sit over on the other side.
Right.
I'm just like,
I know this is kind of like our first time on our new YouTube channel, Mr. Ugle. You do know there is folding tables that we can bring in, so you don't have to it'll evolve. Okay.
It'll evolve.
It'll evolve.
That's kind of what I figured. I thought we'd talk
So,
about
well, eventually, like I said, we're going to have cameras in here where you can just hook into the board and go. Be fantastic. Yeah, he'll just be like this. Just conducting your cameras. So here's a couple of things on how to increase wedding invitation acceptance.
We should give him the buttons. I think that'd be funny.
He's so good at them.
I'm a good button pusher.
You can push my button.
Right there. If you want as many of your A-list attendees to show up, throw back that champagne, toss the confetti or the cookies, whichever. Below, below that line of, these are the people that I really, really want to come above the line there, and then below the line and everybody else. So a way they say that you do that is save the dates. I personally think save the dates are a waste of time and money. That's just my personal opinion. If you're doing save the dates, I'm not saying you're wrong.
What is that?
I just think that there's a better way to spend the money. That's my personal opinion. That has no reflection
Save a
of
date.
complete.
What is that?
Yeah, it's basically.
You don't know what a save the date is?
It's a
it's a pre-invitation.
It's basically like saying, hey, we're planning on getting married on this day. If you can avoid scheduling something on this day.
And those usually go out about 6 months before the wedding. And then in 3 months before the wedding, you get another invitation.
Says we changed the date. No, I'm just
No, you didn't.
No, it's because it's essentially saying like, hey, don't put something else on this weekend.
Yeah. Don't put a Husker game on this weekend. They send those to the regents, and the regents will come over every year.
Send them to UNL. See what happens.
See what happens. So, and some folks say the dates are good. Some say they're optional. I'm one of those optional people. But some people say they're also tactic in making sure people understand when your wedding date is by giving them a 6 months notice. Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat.
tickety talk.
The tickety talk.
I'm gonna just call it Twitter just because I'm a rebel.
Okay, Twitter doesn't matter. Twitter, X, same damn thing. Use that for your save the date, and then send a physical invitation to somebody if you want to do that. Again, going back to our last podcast, we figured out how to do a full wedding for $6,400, and one of the ways to cut is postage, and invitations are done digitally. So, what was it 6,400 at a low end? There's 83 if you added videography.
Yeah,
and yeah, if you and a platinum DJ
And alcohol.
That's right. That's what it was. So, if here's my rule: if you're going to send an RSVP with a save the date, I'm going to fill it out and send it back. But if you're sending an RSVP with a save the date, it's not really a save the date. It's more of an invitation. But usually when that save the date comes around, I'm going to check my schedule and I'm going to know within 5 to 10 minutes if I'm going to be able to attend that wedding or not. Now, being we're in the wedding world, I don't get to a lot of weddings that are people in my family, unless if it's a brother or sister or something like that. So in fact, I didn't even know my parents got married until 2 weeks after it happened. They just went to the courthouse, had it done, didn't really tell anybody. So I'm on the phone with my mom, planning my wedding, and just talking to her, and she goes, "Oh, by the way, Jay's now your stepfather." What? When did that happen? We went down to the courthouse about 2 weeks ago. Okay, congratulations.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, yeah. So,
Fill out the tax documents.
send those invites early. This is another great way to get people to come to the wedding. So,
Which is what the save the dates are for.
right. So, fun fact: 60% of the guests love receiving invitations snail mail over digital. That's the fun fact. I don't give a crap, personally.
I think they like being able to put it on their fridge.
I can print it off from an email too, or a Facebook page invite.
Not everybody has a printer, Dave.
Well, I'm one of those.
Okay, I know this is off topic, but when did that happen? When did the hell did society decide that I no longer need a printer at home? I have heard that so much in do you have one? Okay. I've heard that so much in the past 2 or 3 years where you could take this home and when I'm talking about a photo booth strips. And I said, if they really don't want to do the digital ones, you don't have to pay for that strip. They can go home and print one off. Oh, well, I don't even have a printer. What are you guys doing? How are you printing things off?
They just don't print them.
Yeah,
Print anything.
Some people don't have things to print.
Where did that shift? Where is that?
At the same time that emails became more common than mails,
But 11% of emails are opened. So you still think people are
Still checking it?
still checking it and printing stuff off? Because I just don't understand where all of a sudden as a society we're like, yeah, we don't need printers anymore.
because everything is sent and managed digitally.
Now, okay, I will tell you that because back in the day of yore, we used to print off everything we sent to Brian Reed.
Dinosaur age.
Why does no one have chisels and tablets in their house anymore? When did this shift happen?
Yeah, that's great. It's awesome.
What happened to my whiteboards and chalk, my little scratch boards?
So, yeah, but anyway.
Why does no one have a typewriter in their house anymore?
Yeah, why don't they? Now, here's the thing. Computers are easier. I get that. But Control P, open Apple Print. I don't know. It's not hard. I can print this page right now. I can go Control P.
You're also in a business.
And then it's coming off of my printer.
So no, it'll come off mine because that's the default printer. But yeah. Anyway, so 60% of guests love snail mail over digital. So I guess go find a design and design one. But that means 40% don't care or don't want mail. I don't like mail. I tell my wife because she always says, "Did you get the mail?" I'm like, "Why would I go to the mailbox?" And she goes, "Get the mail." And I'm like, "There's nothing but bills."
Mm-hmm. It's bills and ads and coupons.
Yeah. Why would I want that?
I don't even check my mail. Like, period. I mean, check it once a month.
So I don't.
My mailman hates me.
Oh, I'm sure my mailman hates me. I go out there once a month or something.
Yeah. Why would I go out there to get a bill that I know is coming that I pay online automatically anyway, usually, or my bank reminds me that, hey, this bill is due. You better pay it. So anyway, so
PPD says your bill has been generated. I'm like, cool. It'll get paid as soon as it's due.
Another thing here is pulling us back on track, letting the attendees know that there are chances to save some money. Like I said, for me, we did that with our bridesmaids grooms. We got an awesome room for a deal on a hotel room, and that's booking a discounted block of rooms at a hotel. Mm-hmm. It's not as a big deal as it used to be. The deals used to be really, really good. They're not so much anymore.
Well, if you do a venue that's at a hotel, they'll often give you a
absolutely. Well, they usually will give the bride
throw in a room.
Well, yeah, they'll throw the honeymoon suite in for the bride and groom. But tell them up front, hey, we got a block of rooms here, making sure that guests all have the information to take advantage of everything. Here's some Uber codes that were given to us by the hotel. The hotel has breakfast, so you don't have to worry about those types of things. Mm-hmm. But tell them up front, ensuring that your guests know that they can cut some costs here with breakfast and get a room on deal in the room, and if they're coming from the airport, here's the Uber that you should use and things like that. So that'll help people kind of get there. And then the last thing is. And I don't even know why this is on the list, but it says make a registry with range, and that's talking about your bridal registry. And the reason why that is because they say that some people feel deteriorated about attending the wedding if they can't afford anything on your list. And to what I tell everybody, the best thing that you can give to a bride and groom is a pizza cutter. I know. Those are the faces that I usually get.
I have one.
But here's the thing. You can always use an extra pizza cutter until the day you have children. You will not understand how valuable that pizza cutter is because you're cutting up everything. Chicken strips, sandwiches, into little itty bitty bite-sized pieces. And you can do that with a knife and sit there and take forever, or you can just do it with a pizza cutter real quick and be done. That is the best thing that we got as a engaged married couple was we got a pizza cutter. And I'm like, what the heck? What? It's a pizza cutter. We have one. We had two, and I'm so glad we had two.
I have two.
Pizza cutters. Pizza cutters, people. So evidently, LogDog doesn't like pizza. So I don't know.
I like pizza. You know what happens?
What?
You use the pizza cutter. I wash the pizza cutter. I use it again.
But the problem with that is sometimes you don't have time to wash stuff as a young parent every single time. You have to throw it in the dishwasher. You're a single guy. That makes sense. But when you have two kids and a husband who makes three, sometimes you need another pizza cutter because sometimes the husband forgot to wash the original pizza cutter or it just didn't get done. So
what's the one chore you don't like doing at home?
I know his. It must be cutting a pizza.
No, it's honestly, it's dusting.
It's David's too.
I don't have the patience to pick everything up, wipe a thing down, put everything back down. I don't have time for this.
Now you understand a parent.
That's why I bought your air duster. The one that you showed me. Yes.
That's so nice. I showed it to him and then he showed it to you. It's going to take over the world here. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is all it is for Wedding SWAT. The deets on what percentage of a wedding gets RSVP, yes, and why. Wedding SWAT. Here's SWAT.
Wedding SWAT spot.
Let's try that again.
And nuts.
Wedding SWAT stands for Special Weddings Awesome Talent. Hey, if you are a vendor and you have a wedding business that you want us to talk about in front of you on the podcast. We're going to talk about you in front of you. We will go ahead and make sure to get you booked and let people know what you do, and what you offer brides and grooms and just events. So,
do you have eyebrows?
Yes, I do.
Get a close about the man's eyebrows.
Mike,
They're blonde.
So they're blonde, but they're.
Do you have eyebrows?
Yes, they are there.
Yes, a wedding spot. We're always wishing you good day and good wedding.